You want to buy an Airbnb here on the Emerald Coast and make a little bit of extra money. In today's video, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. What is going on? My name is Andrew and this is
AJ
with the Emerald Group right here on the Emerald Coast. That's everything from Pensacola to Panama City Beach and everything in between. So if you're thinking that you want to know everything about this area, then you've come to the right place. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and tickle that little bell so that you'll be notified every single time we do a new video. So we're getting calls, texts, and emails almost daily of people wanting to move down to our area or purchase something down here. If that sounds like you, all of our information is right here on the screen. Please don't hesitate to call, text, email, paper, airplane, smoke signal, whatever is best for you. We've got your back.
So we're going to go into something a little bit, I would say this is almost like in the weeds a bit, because, you know, a lot of times when people think short-term rentals, they think of condos, but we're actually going to talk about houses and short-term rentals right now. So, you know, your Airbnbs, your VRBOs, a lot of times folks are looking at condos because they're smaller. So this is a little bit different, higher potential ROI, bigger space to furnish, right? So let's get into what someone should be looking for in a house when they're intending to Airbnb it out.
So first and foremost, we need to discuss exactly what we're looking for when it comes to a single family or a townhome. This is everything but condos. We've already done another video on that, so go ahead and click on one of the links up there if you need that video. But for right now, single family homes, townhomes, what are we looking for? Well, the biggest thing is single family homes is definitely big, but you can sometimes get away with a townhome. Just kind of depends. The problem with a lot of townhomes is they come with HOAs, so that's a big portion of it. So you need to find a home that's not in an HOA that restricts you. I would suggest that you don't purchase in an HOA in general, at least in our area here along the Emerald Coast, because most of them that have an HOA, they have the option to either not let you do it at all, or they have the option to eliminate it down the road. So they might not put it in their documents right now, but it could be a problem down the road.
Yeah, the last thing you're going to want to do is buy this property specifically with the intent of making a ton of money off of it through short-term rentals, and then get 6 months or a year down the road, you roll and everything's going great, and then all of a sudden you get the kibosh on a HOA like, hey, you got to stop, and you're like, what now? Yeah,
what do I do with this problem? Now I'm going to have to long-term rent it, and it's going to cut into investments. When it comes to the actual property itself, we're looking for generally a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Now, the exact parameters, what the home looks like inside, all kind of depends, but you do want it to be able to look aesthetically pleasing after you move in. So if you're going to buy something that is dated, you're probably going to have to put some money into it. So make sure that you budget that kind of stuff in. You're also going to have to budget for furniture and just to make the whole place look pretty. So just always keep that in mind. A lot of times it's better to buy something that is turnkey, already upgraded, has been flipped recently, or just upgraded by the owners in general so that you can alleviate some of that. But if you're looking for a deal, you'll generally make out a little bit better if you're comfortable doing all of the upgrades yourself.
Right. Think about what you would book first if you were to book an Airbnb. Are you going to look at the one that's got kind of shoddy looking pictures and furniture, or are you going to go to the one that looks like it's pretty upscale, comfortable, doesn't have bed bugs kind of thing, right? You know, yeah. Especially if you're bringing a family with some little kids or what have you. Know, obviously there's a reason that they're looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath place and a house as opposed to a condo. You know, they're going to need some more leeway, right? But if they're coming to our area and it's a short-term rental, it's not a long-term, which means they're here for a very specific reason, which is highly likely to be the beach. So that's the other thing it needs to be, is close to the water. Now, Mongo was just telling me some figures about how being far from the beach can actually hurt your ROI.
Yeah, so on average, our Airbnb expert says that every minute it takes for them to get to the beach driving time will cut off approximately $5,000 from your yearly gross income.
That's a big cut.
That is a big, big cut. So closer to the beach, the better. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you have to be right around one of the bridges. Let's say Navarre, Fort Walton. I'm just kind of going to use those as like easy areas that we're discussing, because there's 2 bridges that go into the beach area. You don't have to be right around them, but you do have to have quick access to it, which fortunately for us, we've got Highway 98 that runs the entire length of the coast, which makes everything fairly close. So you could actually buy something right in between those 2 beaches, and it would still cash flow very, very well.
So that's what we're looking for, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a garage by the beach. And some really creative ideas is things that people can do if they get stuck at the property. You know, what if it rains the entire weekend that they've booked? You want them to still have a pleasant experience, right? So they need stuff to be able to do. So a lot of things that we're seeing are converting the garages into like playrooms, you know, putting some ping pong tables or a pool table, something there to just spend time if you can't go outside and, you know, do whatever it is that you wanted to do originally.
Yeah, and doing like a ping pong table, pool table combo is generally a good idea too, and then turning that garage into like a whole theme, right? Really, the entire house can be a whole theme. I've seen Barbie themed houses, video game themed houses, military themed houses, just a bunch of different stuff. Another really good feature to have in your Airbnb is yard space. Not because you need a lot of space for, you know, your people to go roaming around, but more so that you can put activities in the back. So like a fire pit, a barbecue pit, an outdoor grilling area. A barbecue pit's real big. Like if you get something with gas, you could connect directly into the house. So you don't have to mess with propane. Your cleaners don't have to mess with propane. That's really good. A little outside bowling alley, which is a little bit on the extreme side, but that's a great option. Pools and hot tubs, huge, 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 huge. But don't necessarily purchase just for that. Keep in mind that your property is going to be about $50,000 to $100,000 more expensive to put a pool in and then to throw a hot tub in there. But if you make your money on it first, maybe sit it for a year, make 50 grand off of it, and then throw a pool in there and jump your 50,000 a year up to 70,000 per year, then it'll pay for itself fairly quickly.
Not to mention the tax advantage of reinvesting it straight into the property as opposed to taking it.
I didn't even think about that. That's good.
Driveway spaces. So if you've got someone who's booking a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, a lot of times it's not just going to be one family. It might be a couple of families that want to stay close together, or multi-generations, right? So then they're going to have multiple vehicles. If you've converted that garage into a play area, you're still going to need places for them to park. Or another idea is if you've got an extra vehicle that you can leave there, maybe you're staying in that property every once in a while, so you're leaving a vehicle there, register it on Turo or as an additional item in your Airbnb, or however you're working it, so that you've got yet another item making you money on the side there and providing an additional benefit to these folks that are coming to stay, because maybe they're flying in, you know, so instead of them having to take Ubers everywhere or renting a car from the airport, the car's just waiting for them right there. They don't have to worry about, you know, gassing up at the airport or anything, getting there in like the nick of time, whatever you have, you know, they've got a vehicle waiting for them right there.
And in a lot of these Airbnbs, they can add that as an additional option. Hey, for an extra $30 a night, you get access to this vehicle, the keys will be there, you know, all of that good stuff. I'm sure there's some extra paperwork or something you may have to get from them to make sure they're licensed and all of that, but it could be a great option. And speaking of driving around the neighborhood, a really good option, particularly in the higher price points, you start paying $1 million or more for a house out here, which don't worry, they're going to cash flow, so it's not really going to cost you that much. But one of the really popular things is a golf cart, or even sometimes multiple golf carts. This is really popular in the Destin, Miramar Beach, Sandestin 30A area, so that whole kind of stretch, because people like to go into their Airbnb and everything is fairly close. They don't need to get on the main roads, so they can actually take these golf carts in some of these golf cart friendly neighborhoods out to the beach, throw a cooler in the back, the kids in the back, what have you. Take it out to the beach, take it to their favorite restaurant, just cruise around if they want to. And those are always a good option and fairly inexpensive in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, absolutely, especially for the type of clientele that you're going to get when you start incorporating this type of thing, you know, especially when you're able to put it into the amenities and you have folks specifically looking for that. You know, it's really incredible. And talking about different things to provide, also consider your furnishings. You know, we touched on doing themes and such, but keep in mind you're about to furnish an entire house, so you really need to have an appropriate budget and realistic expectations. How long is this furniture going to last, right? We're talking about pots and pans, dishes. Like, what are these folks going to take to the beach, or what are they going to use to cook with outside, you know, if you've got that outdoor grill. So make sure you're purchasing furnishings that are going to, you know, look good and they're going to feel good. They're going to be great as amenities to whoever's booking, but not so expensive that you're going to cry every time you have to replace it, which is going to be probably pretty frequent.
Yeah, about once a year is generally what we see for most people. They're going to have to redo all of their pots and pans, all of their plates and silverware, all of that great stuff. So just keep that in mind. Now, I think it's a little bit less on a single family home Airbnb than it is on a condo, but it's still something you need to consider.
Yeah, absolutely, because unless you've got a house right on the water, they may or may not be taking those pots and pans all the way to the beach to create those sand castles that everybody loves.
Yeah, that's very true. The amount of times that we see them out at the beach or somebody's playing with a sand castle with a pot, I'm just like, what is going on right now? Now, on top of all of that with your furnishings, you touched on a little bit, making sure that it's quality enough that it's going to last a while and look good. And that's sometimes kind of a hard middle ground to find. So this is where we pivot a little bit from a condo to a home, where this is where it's more okay to get stuff off of Facebook Marketplace and all of that, as long as it looks good. Particularly like refurbished furniture where somebody repaints it, makes it look very pretty. These are great aesthetic touches to add, and it gives that extra pop for your place. And make sure that you're sticking away from the real cheap stuff. One of my biggest pet peeves is wicker furniture. I don't know what it is with Airbnb is people want to put wicker furniture because it's like beachy feeling, but then in a year they're replacing all of it, and that's really going to cut into profits.
And speaking of aesthetic touches in our area, something else to consider is supporting a local artist by using some of their artwork, or if you find like a family out here, we have lots of folks that have, small farms or create these organic soaps and different scents and such. Add these as small touches, it just separates your space, sets it apart from the other spaces as really being like unique, and it will cost you a little bit more, but it will also cause your unit or your space to stand out more to these folks that have booked your spot and keep them coming back year after year and telling their friends about it. So you've got, constant turnover by the same folks who are typically going to treat your place better if they're return customers, because they kind of start to feel this like almost ownership, like a partial ownership to the spot if they keep coming back.
And speaking of personal touches with this, if you do have somebody coming back fairly regularly, a great little extra touch to do is if you've known anything about them, if you figured anything out, because sometimes they put memos in these Airbnbs, VRBOs, they put memos about why they're there, any of that great stuff. If you happen to know anything about these people, maybe you talk to them, whatever it is, try to do something personalized to them. So like a lot of times when we go to big conferences or something like that, they'll have something waiting for you in the hotel room or something like that. And it always means a lot more to me personally when it's not, a fruit basket or something's great. It's like, oh, this is awesome. But it means a lot more to me if they find out something personal about me, or if I commented on something and they brought in something like that, right? I don't have any great examples for you right now, but if you have a conversation with somebody, you figure out that they love
the Steelers.
The Steelers, yeah, and you order an Amazon hat off, or a hat off Amazon from the Steelers and bring it to them. Now it shows that you're paying attention. Your chance of getting rebooked great customers that aren't trashing your place, aren't doing anything bad, is much higher when you're providing that kind of extra touch.
Absolutely. Or maybe if you're allowing small dogs, at your unit, throw out a couple of little dog treats or something.
Oh, like a little bin of dog treats or whatever that just says like, oh yeah, that would be really good. That's a great example of like if somebody's like, hey, it's us and our dog Benji, and you have a little treat thing set out that's in a closet, always ready, and all you have to do is print out a little card, have your cleaner when she goes over there to clean it the day before they come in, to have that little card and say treats for Benji. Have a couple of different options. Maybe if you really want to take it to the next level, go find some personalized ones. We've got a great spot in Fort Walton. There's also another one at Destin. There's probably multiple of them where they will fresh bake treats for pups. Now imagine if you're going on vacation and somebody has a fresh baked treat for your pup. So now, AJ, let's jump into some of the services that you might need to be taking care of your house if you're not doing it yourself. Because for the most part, if you're doing this as an investment, you don't need to be going over there mowing the lawn every week or anything like that. It's going to take a ton of time. Let it make you money. Pay the professionals to keep up with the property and use your time to find the next property. At least that's my suggestion.
Yeah, I highly recommend not doing it yourself. If this is a short-term rental, that is so much more work when compared to a long-term rental. You're talking about a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom space. I mean, the time alone that it's going to take to re-sanitize everything, do all the laundry, take care of the yard. Does it have a pool or a hot tub? All of these things. This is all time, and you're probably working full-time. Or if you're retired, then you're retired for a reason, and it's not to take care of a house, So, spread that wealth, make your money by providing a great experience and leaving all of that stuff to the professionals. A lot of time, since we're talking about using a property management company, they should have vendors vendors to help you do all of this on a regular basis. If they don't, we know plenty of people that we can refer you to make sure the job gets done every time to the proper standard and at a reasonable price. I'm not going to say a discounted price because everybody deserves to get paid. Everybody deserves to eat. Look, we're not trying to send you someone who's going to be mad at you because they're not getting paid enough, right? You want someone who's going to be right at that standard level, right? So they're going to do a great job and they're not going to break anything in the process because they like what they do and they care about their standard of, service.
Yeah, I like that. And actually, speaking of like, if you haven't liked this video yet, go ahead and hit that little like for us. That really helps us out. Now, some of the services you might need. If you've got a pool or a hot tub, you need a pool or hot tub guy. Like, that's all there is to it. Now, a hot tub you can generally do on your own and just have the cleaner fill in a little float thing that sort of keeps it good. But a pool, you're definitely going to need somebody going over there. You're going to need a lawn guy. You're going to need a house cleaner. And what else am I missing? Probably a good handyman. Yeah, maintenance guy, something like that. Again, all things that your property manager should have. If they don't, you probably need to get a new property manager, in just my personal opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're thinking about trying to do the pool yourself because you're like, probably just a once a week kind of thing, think about the difference between you living there and using that pool regularly versus multiple people changing through and using that pool. That pH balance is going to go all over the place. You've got different types of detergents, you've got different types of soaps, you've got different types of sunscreens, you've got different types of body oils, potentially bodily fluids. So you're going to want someone else handling that because it's probably going to need to get checked more than once a week.
And listen, if you happen to be buying an Airbnb in your neighborhood, you already live here locally or something like that, you can definitely go do all this stuff your own. But if you're buying this purely as an investment, our suggestion is very strictly let other people handle it and just have it as an investment on the side.
If you've made it this far, go ahead and comment down below on your absolute best Airbnb experience and what made it a great experience for you. We'll see you all next time.
See ya.